See, when someone comes in through the door, it's our responsibility.
Right.
And if the person does not have the right attitude, beliefs, or mindset, or delegation commitment, then the question is, why should we take this person?
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Magnetic Zone. And today, we have Caleb, right, back for part 2, because I think part 1 we talk a lot about the leadership, his backstory, and I think there's a lot more to cover regarding how he scaled his agency and a lot of like the business and the mindset and the optimization stuff that we have yet to talk about. So after part 1, Caleb was telling me that we should do a part 2, and here it is. We have a part 2. Okay, so part 2 we are doing it in a very different setup. Okay, like a more proper place. Okay, I kind of like this vibe. What did you think?
Yeah, it's a very professional setup. So I was asking some of the staff like how they actually manage this entire studio. So it's quite smart. If you look at the other rooms, right, one part of the room is like one set, and the other part of the room is another set. So it's 2 settings in one room.
2 settings in one room.
Take a look.
Wow, later we go and see.
Not.
But yeah, I think for today, right, I think one of the key things that we want to uncover today is really about your growth from where you were, right, when you start from 0, right, as a new advisor to now over 50 plus packs in your team in a few short years. And I think for many leaders or people in this industry, for them to be able to hit this number, some even take like decades to be able to hit that number, and you're able to hit it in how many years to confirm?
4 years.
4 years,
yeah,
right?
4 years.
So I think that itself is a very very interesting feat, and we'd like to talk more about it in this episode. All right, Caleb. So can you share me more about like when it comes to 50 packs? I think managing a small group of people versus managing 10 people, 20 people, and now like 50 people. I'm pretty sure like the problem you face is very, very different. And can you just share with us like how is it like managing such a huge team, and is there anything with regards to the systems that we need to take note of?
Okay, it's a good question, because when I first started, I asked senior how do they manage a big agency. Guess what the senior responded to me?
How to manage a big agency?
Yeah, so that senior at that point of time had about 80 advisors, and I asked him how is he managing his team?
He is delegating, I would guess that.
He told me this. Does it matter?
Why?
Because he said that, does it matter? Even if he shares with me what he's doing at a point in time, how does that relate to my situation?
That is true.
Yeah, so maybe I bring back to how I first started. I think a lot of people in the audience will be thinking, today if I have 1, 2, 5, 10 people, then how do I even manage that, and how do I scale that? Then maybe I'll share a little bit about currently how do I manage the team.
Right.
Yeah. So starting, I think first thing first is a decision. A decision is very important. What do I mean by that? When I ask someone when they sit the very first time in front of me, I ask them, do you have aspirations to be a leader one day? It's a very important question, because there are times where people say, not ready. And they may not have that passion, that heart. And leadership is tough.
It's tough.
You have to go through many obstacles. You have to manage not just your team, but more importantly, you got to manage yourself.
Yes.
And there are people chasing after you literally, right? Because if you stop growing as a leader, then your team will overtake you one day. So there are some people that are not ready to take on leadership.
Yep.
Okay, yet they just build because got people join, then I just recruit. Then see how it goes. So if their mentality is see how things plays out, don't know yet. If they don't have that beginning of the end in mind, then it will be a challenge for them. Right. And for some, it's like by the way, if I can recruit, then I recruit. So a decision was not made. But for me, I made that decision when I first joined. So for me, is when I come in this industry, I tell myself, if I want to be in an industry like this, then why not be the very best? And one of which is looking into the route of recruitment and management.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think that's very profound, because I think it's very common whereby, when someone first join the industry, they share wins, they share successes, and then it might attract some people like in your warm network to maybe want to join you. And I think like what you say, it all starts with a decision, right? I think oftentimes I hear people who, start this kind of self-employment journey, right? They start to get like people interested to join them, and then they say, okay, and then over time, there are some who, like what you said, I think like what you said just now is like when you first start leadership, you need to make sure you're constantly growing. If not, one day people will kind of like, your team members will overtake you or something like that, right? And then there are times I've seen people who have gone through that situation and they have to like let go of people, right? So like for your case, how do you make sure that your team constantly grows, but at the same time you're always growing faster than them?
Yeah, so that was the first phase of my recruitment.
Yeah.
So also tagging on to your previous question, the hardest part is actually 0 to 1. Means from your zero associate to your first associate, that is probably the biggest jump, because that requires a lot of change in how you think, how you view things, and when you're quote unquote someone to manage, then you've got to do things a bit differently. And subsequently, as you grow your team to let's say 5 people, you will have a good understanding of who are the people that you should look for in the team. You shouldn't recruit everyone.
Right.
Yeah. Based on experience, when you recruit everyone, then this is where you will start to face a lot of problems. Ideally, when you recruit a good group of people, then like what you said, you should feel that there's a group of people chasing your growth.
Got it.
And you need to be really, really proactive to make sure that you are seeking not just internal resources, but also external resources to grow.
Right. What kind of resources do you tap into to make sure that you're always like, growing, and of course making sure your team grows with you?
I think depending on your industry, in this industry, I ask myself, what skill sets do I need to double my income next year, to double my output, to double my productivity next year? And some skill sets are not trained overnight. So for me, I identified a few. First, definitely sales. Because sales equals influence. It's not just talking to customers, but also in your team. When you talk to them, you're also selling them an idea, why they should run for this, why they should do this and that. So sales is something that I focus a lot on. Then of course, subsequently is leadership. And at the start, I read a lot of books.
Yes.
A lot of books.
Caleb read a lot of books, guys.
Yeah, so
that's how you got me started as well.
Really, really, books are free. You can go to the library and you can get books for free, literally, right? Go to Google the top 10 sales books, top 10 leadership books.
Right.
Then you buy every single book.
Yeah.
And you go and consume every book.
I think that was back then without AI. Now with ChatGPT, what people do is that just give me the top 10 sales books and then like summarize all of the sales.
It's way easier.
And it's like, wow, it's way easier to condense everything, right? That's kind of what I did also, right? But I think very, very interesting, because you talk about, knowing who you want in the team, right? When you start with 5, you have a rough sense of who you want and stuff like that. So, back then when you first started in your team building journey, like, along your journey, can you share more about the obstacles you face, the challenges you face, what kind of like onboarding systems have you discovered from back then when we first started versus now? How is it different?
I think there are many, many, many challenges depending on which phase of my management, whether is it in a team of 10, 20, 50. So maybe I go back to when I first started, let's say to my first 10. I ask myself, what does it take for me to not be in the picture next year? So today, let's say I'm not a manager yet, I'm not a leader yet. I sit down with you, with my advisor, to share more about, okay, how do we do and learn about this product? Or how do we do this and that? So it's literally, we will teach, we will go through slide decks, so on and so forth.
Right.
So what I thought of is, why not I record this entire system, this entire process, such that the next time I need to teach product A, I can just get a new advisor to watch this video. Then after that, I can just do coaching. So I systemize and digitalize a lot of it to an extent that we made it agency level. So on the agency level, everyone that goes through and comes through the door, they can just go through a process. It's just like how we take courses outside.
Right.
You go level 1, level 2, level 3, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So we created a process like that.
I think back then when you shared with me about your onboarding process, I remember there were a lot of layers, a lot of levels. Wow, there's so many levels that I thought it was, whoa, like quite crazy. So usually how long does it take for someone to officially onboard with you guys and to really get up to speed?
Yeah, and this is how we do things very differently from other agencies.
Right.
We don't just bring people in.
Yeah.
Okay, so as much as someone out there is looking for a good agency, a good mentor, we are also looking for the right candidate. So it's important that we create a process for us to explore. So I say there's 2 objectives. The first objective is for the candidate to get a better understanding of what this industry is all about.
Right.
And whether this industry can give them what they want. Okay? And secondly, through this process, it's also for us to assess the candidate.
Right.
So roughly this process takes about plus minus 1 month.
1 month.
So this 1 month, there will be no taking papers, there will be nothing. It's them literally going through the process, them coming for trainings, for events, and really just build a rapport.
Okay. So I think by having such a thorough system, I think it's more than 1 month, right? This 1 month is just before they take exams. After they take exams, still got a lot more things, right?
So after they take exams, another part of the system.
Yeah, okay. We can talk more about that later on. But what I see is that from what you guys have implemented, it kind of also serves as like a filtration type of system, right? Whereby whoever that's not aligned and whatsoever, they will just like drop off. And you guys are probably okay with the drop-offs, right? Because at the end of the day, that if it doesn't fit, it's good. You all save each other's time.
Yeah.
You guys only want the best in the team. So just curious, by having this whole thing implemented, right? What is like I'm not sure if you're okay to share this, but would it be okay to share like what is the rough drop-off rate? Like let's say for every 10 people that go through this whole system, how many actually make it?
Okay, so we call this system the exploration process.
Yeah.
It's exploration for both ends. So I would say typically for someone to cross all the levels and quote unquote go to the next phase, perhaps 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10, 50%. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, okay. Then of course that's where they take the papers and then you guys have more like thorough training, right?
Yes.
I see.
So 5 out of 10 that subsequently drop out, I would say maybe out of which 1 or 2 are initiated by us to tell them to leave.
Oh, okay.
And 3 or 4 maybe feel that the industry don't suit them.
I see.
Yeah, so there are times that we tell them that perhaps a sales career is not fitted for them, or perhaps the agency is not good fit.
Would it be okay to share like what makes you all reject someone?
See, when someone comes in through the door, it's our responsibility.
Right.
And if the person does not have the right attitude, beliefs, or mindset, or dedication, commitment, then the question is, why should we take this person? Knowing that 6 months later, 1 year later, there will be a high chance that there will be no results. And it causes stress on our end, thinking, okay, then what should we do to make sure that this person can perform? At the same time, this person will be quite stressed because they are also taking on something that is serious in their life.
Right.
And in a people's career, sometimes we meet so many people every day. We will know who is a good fit, who is probably not so much of a good fit. Yeah, and this is where we set very clear intentions at the start.
After going through this whole thing, right? On hindsight, just wondering if you have ever like rejected somebody, and then you think about it again and be like, oh damn, actually like,
Actually, so far, really based on, because the assessment is not done like through a conversation. If let's say through a 1 hour conversation, then I say, this person not cut out. I think it's a bit too quick to judge the book.
Right.
Because we can't be sure. Someone that is very quiet in front of me can be spectacular behind the scenes. So the process is 1 month. And 1 month, honestly, based on judgment, is long enough for me to give a sensing. And based on the people that we have turned away, I would say that so far, no regrets at all. I have people that go to other agency and they don't perform and they leave 6 months later. So it's been very tried and tested in that sense.
Right. I think it's very, very different. Like what you said just now, not like any other agencies, right? Whereby they just bring people in. You guys have this like filtration process, this exploratory stage, right? And I believe this is what contributed to your team success as well. You're bringing in the right people, building the right culture. And then because of the right culture, every month is like, it kind of amplifies the growth as well.
Yes.
As compared to just bringing anybody in and then inside it's like messy, all sorts of different people, right? So can you share with me more about like now the culture part, right? What kind of culture do you instill in your team? And from what I know is that you are quite a very disciplined guy, right? So is this also like one of the key values that you instill in the team culture?
Well, it's a good point. I always link it to 2 words. And these 2 words I share with someone that passed the exploration process. So when they start to take papers and we start our coaching and trainings, then I'll share with them these 2 words. And these 2 are the vision I have for me as a leader in this industry. First word is successful. Everyone that comes in, obviously they want to find success here.
Yeah.
Okay, successful people tag it normally to financial success,
Right.
which is, I would say, very practical. Meaning to say, if someone out there can get who are mostly fresh grads, right, people that normally walk through the door, if they can get a 4,000 paycheck out there, and over here, if they cannot even maintain that level, then they will be better off outside.
Yeah.
So I'm very practical and I tell them that this is exactly what you're coming here for. And I'm sure you don't just want to match what a corporate job can give you. You want to do above and beyond. Right? So financial success, I would say also how can we achieve a win-win, which means not just financial success, but also having work-life balance. And work-life balance sometimes is not too tough. People say that, wow, it's almost impossible.
Right.
And some new advisors come and tell me, does it mean that I have to spend like 10 hours, 12 hours really working through the day, right, to reach this level of success? And the answer is no. So if I were to share a framework, a very simple framework is a 3-8. 3 times 8.
3 times 8. Okay.
8 hours of sleep.
Yes.
8 hours of personal time. Right? You've got 8 hours of personal time a day. How do you feel?
Pretty good, but I feel a bit long. 8 hours personal time.
It's a lot, right? 8 hours is good for most people.
Yeah.
Right? Or even more than enough. 8 hours. So I say, never mind, we just do 8. We don't be overly ambitious first. 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of personal time, 8 hours of work. 8 hours of dedicated, focused work. Deep work. Not just, I'm in the office, walking around, getting my coffee, talking to my colleague. Deep work. So I segregate and I help them manage their time right at the start.
Oh, okay.
Right? So successful also in terms of work-life balance. If they can have 8 hours of focused, really productive activities, I'm talking about prospecting, appointments, really upskilling themselves. If you focus on that, it's more than enough time.
Actually, yeah, now that you break it down,
And
that's
you
a
have
good
8 hours.
perspective.
Exactly.
8 hours of personal time. I was like, actually feels quite a lot. Then I realized, 8 hours of sleep, I still have 8 hours of time to work.
In context for our advisors, it's like you're attending maybe 2 hours of training a day. Okay, 1 hour prospecting. You are having, let's say, 2 appointments. 2 appointments, maybe
3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours. That's 6 hours. You still got 2 more hours, maybe some traveling time, some whatever. So all in all, you got a lot of time. And you can do consistently 2 to 3 appointments a day with 1 hour prospecting and 1 to 2 hours of upskilling every single day.
Right.
And you have 8 hours to yourself.
Right. Just curious, do you all really work every single day, like Monday to Sunday, just 8 hours work?
Okay, so for me, I mean, to me, that's the base. And that's the base because when you come into self-employed or when you're a business owner, you got to work like an employee.
More than that, actually.
Yeah, more than that. So minimum is we work like an employee. When out there someone is working 9 to 6. To me, that is my bare minimum, 9 to 6. I need to clock in the hours. Okay, that anything above and beyond, to me, is bonus.
Right. That's very interesting. Wow. So for like a candidate to come in, do you like really manage their time this way, or do they ever feel that it's very like they feel micromanaged?
I always give them the autonomy, which means to say I use this framework. This framework is you don't need to stick to it, right? And of course, day to day, Monday to Sunday, different days are also built differently.
Right.
For example, your weekends, probably as an advisor, you can be more productive because people are more free to meet you compared to, let's say, a Monday. So, of course, this framework serves as a guide for them to see how they can structure their day. Okay, but generally speaking, if I give them a skeleton outline, for them to plug and play items, most of them won't feel micromanaged. In fact, I will ask them to propose to me how they will spend their 8 hours a day.
Right.
Based on their current stage of their career and based on their goals that they want to achieve.
And then you will like assess and just...
and I'll coach them based on that. Someone that wants to make, let's say, $2,000 a month, and someone that want to make $10,000 a month, their schedule in terms of activities are probably a bit different. Then I will work on that.
Usually, what are the things that you spot, like for a very like productive type of advisor? Like you're talking about like the 2K per month is very different from a 10K per month advisor. So usually, what are some of the difference in the schedule? How does it really look like?
Okay, so when I look at activities, I broaden to 2 types of activities. The first type are offensive activities.
Offensive.
Essentially, all these activities directly bring you to your goals. Directly bring you to your FYC goals. That means your
commissions.
Yes, commission goals.
Yeah.
And there's the other part, which is your defensive work. Your branding, your education, your attending of trainings, meetings, so on and so forth. Anything that is learning related, all these are defensive. Or anything that you work on the business, that is defensive. So in the business, really is prospecting, appointments, closing.
What do you think is a good balance, right? Because and there's this offensive and defensive. Like, how would you like? What's a good balance? Like, really, is it just like 4 hours, or for a more well-to-do, successful advisor, is it usually like, I don't know, 80-20? I don't know. How would you?
So 80-20, 50-50, 80-20. Okay? 80-20 at the start. 80 defensive, 20% offensive.
Okay.
For a new advisor, because they need to learn.
Right.
They need to build that knowledge. For a start, you'll be 80-20, 80 to defensive, 20 to offensive.
80 to defensive?
Yes, at the very start. Means like, I come in my first month.
Alright, so you learn all the
learn all
knowledge
the products,
and all that.
everything. Presentation,
Fair.
role play. So 80% of time, they'll be spending doing that. 20% of time, they'll be going out there still to apply what they've learned.
Okay,
then slowly, maybe 6 months in, they'll transit to a 50-50 model because by then, there's only so much to learn. After you learn through your products and presentations, there's of course knowledge that you have to still consume, like keep yourself up to date based on market trends, so on and so forth, which shouldn't take up too much time. Then the other 50% they will be going out there, offensive work. Then of course, when someone becomes more successful in the work they do, it'll be 80 towards offensive and 20 defensive.
Right. I think it's kind of like a cycle, right? It'll be like focusing on the defensive first, 50-50, then offensive. Then from there, you go too much on offensive, then that's where you need to go back to the defensive again to start to systemize things.
Yes.
Right? Actually, now I'm just thinking, right? The next part, for advisors that join in, right? And then of course, at the start, it's like, sales is their main source of income. At what point will you think that it's a good transition from sales to, managing a team? Right? For someone that really wants to be a team leader, right? I think there are some advisors who feel stuck, whereby the main bulk of their income is their sales. Maybe 80-90% of their income is on sales.
Yeah.
And then for them to focus on recruitment, then that's where they will sacrifice a lot on sales. And their recruitment overriding, it doesn't really replace their sales income yet.
Yeah.
Right? So what is like the transition process or progress like?
I mean, to be very honest, when I meet advisors like that, 90% or more, it's not because they cannot sacrifice their sales. It's because of poor time management. That's 90% of the advisors.
Right.
Because if you have good time management, in fact, you can still do your sales and you can have pockets of time for your recruitment and the management. There are 10% of people that I meet really multiple TOT producers that they earn millions of dollars and they really, really have no time. Then that is a different story. So I speak for the majority of people. So I will still go back to my scheduling, which means I'll ask myself, okay, then which day do I want to spend more time on sales? Which day I want to spend more time on maybe my recruitment efforts?
Right.
For a start, you don't have to change your menu so fast. So for example, it's like today, McDonald's. What are they known for?
Burgers,
Okay,
fries.
let's say burgers, fries.
Okay, burgers, yeah.
Let's say today they want to suddenly transit to sell mala.
Wow.
And they changed their whole menu. Overnight, they changed their whole menu. 80% sell mala, 20% they sell burgers and fries. What will happen to this business?
I mean, yeah, probably people will be very confused, right? But I think you actually spark a lot of attention. Then maybe it will grow their business. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right, but I get your point.
But generally speaking, if you change your menu too fast,
yeah.
then you're not focusing on what you are doing best.
Right.
Okay, so for someone that is doing sales, focusing their time on sales, you don't have to suddenly switch gear and say that, oh, I now want to do recruitment.
Right.
You don't have to. So then how businesses out there transit is they put seasonal items. Means like, okay, they test like maybe McDonald's, sometimes they put like, I don't know, seaweed fries or don't know what, see how it shakes up by the market.
Yeah.
Then they say, hey, wow, people, there's demand. Then maybe they can do it more frequently.
Yeah.
So for a start, you don't have to take out 50% of the time to do recruitment. 100% of the time you're doing your sales, it's okay. Then you just take out 10% for a start. Just to see, then how can you sharpen the recruitment part?
Right.
Or how can you manage your time better such that you can create that 10 to 20% more? Then as you see results coming in, then of course, then you start to transit. And that transition phase sometimes is over a course of 6 months to 1 year. It's not like an overnight. That's one way to do it.
Right.
Second way to do it is you chunk your sales. So some people it's like, okay, by mid-year, I'm done with my sales goal.
Then
Second last recruitment and management. That also works. But based on my experience, more often than not, when people use this strategy, by mid-year they are
burnout.
Not even halfway through their goals.
Okay. It's either that or they burn out.
Yeah,
right.
Correct, exactly. Then end up they use Q3 as a time to catch up on the lost time. And by end of Q3, they are barely there. Then Q4 is the final sprint. Then the year repeats.
That's it. God.
Next year they say, oh, then recruitment next year. Not so important, not a priority as of now.
Right.
Then their sales will always fall under that priority. So that also is either poor time management or they don't exactly know what their ability is. Right? To set the goal. So it still depends on situation by situation.
Right. Well, I understand now. So it's like a progressive thing, right? From doing sales and then slowly increasing the time spent on recruitment. But for you, is this something that you follow? Like this method that you follow whereby you, of course, I know at the start you were chonging your sales, right? You want to hit your first MDRT when you first joined this career and you hit it in a few months. And then like, I don't know, it felt like your recruitment journey actually felt very fast from the outside point of view, right? So I'm not sure, like, is this like the only way that you're doing it, or is there any other things you're doing to kind of like amplify your growth?
I learned a lot from this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So just now I spoke about beginner and end in mind. So likewise for this career, something that helped me a lot is think win-win. Think win-win is how can you do sales at the same time and how can you also manage your recruitment. Most people think of win-lose. That means I do sales, then my recruitment GG. Or I do recruitment, my sales GG. Or even for us in AWM, there's a lot of student advisors. Like people that can study well, career cannot do well. Career do well, study must be poor. So why not create that win-win? Then it will go back to then how can you implement some recruitment processes in your sales process?
How does that work? Wait, what?
Yeah,
Implementing recruitment process in your sales process.
Exactly. So you see, at the end of the day, which one is tougher? Recruitment or sales?
Recruitment, I believe so.
Recruitment.
Yeah.
So every time I sit down with somebody, I ask myself, is this person a possible recruitment prospect first? Because that's harder. So I won't go and focus on sales first. Right now, I ask, is this person possibly recruitable? If yes, then can I switch gear to understand more about what goals this person have? And whether this career can bring them to where they want to go. If the conversation goes nowhere, means the person say, oh, I don't do sales, don't this, on that, and you cannot handle that, then you know that you will only have wasted, let's say, 15 minutes having this conversation. And in fact, it's not even a waste. It's for you to understand this prospect better. Then you can go into your sales. Right? You can talk about their goals and how financial planning can bring them to where they want to go.
Right.
So it's a win-win. You have best of both worlds. And more importantly is that the person opposite you knows that you are in the business of building an agency. Because I have cases that I stated my intention and they say, not the right time, not this, not that. It's totally fine. Then afterwards, they come back to me and say, hey, last time, I recall that you were trying to build this thing and that. Are you still looking for people? You never know.
You have people like asking you that?
Have. Not just that, people refer me their friends or even their spouse to join me because I put that on the table. Because as a new advisor, context, I mean different because in my position, people know that, hey, this guy is recruiting. But if today you're a new advisor, you have 1 associate or even 0, how will people even know that you are building a team? No one will know.
No one would know.
Yeah, no one will know. Unless you let the world know by stating your intention.
And that's kind of what you did?
From day one.
Even when you had 0 people?
0.
Interesting. How did you manage to... Do you think finding your first 5, first 10 is way harder than like what it is now?
Way harder than what it is now. I would say it depends on the demographic that you're building. Right. One of the reasons why I can scale my numbers fast is because I'm in the fresh grad or student market. For someone that is listening to this, that probably, let's say in your 30s, in your 40s, if you don't have access to this student population, for you to build mid-career is a different ballgame altogether.
Agree.
So you gotta play to your strength at every phase of your career. Like I know that I will never stay 20 forever. One day I'll move in the mid-career market. Then I need to be damn good at that.
Right, you have to change your position.
Yeah, you have to capitalize on your phase of your career. So for me was, okay, I know that before I hit 30, this market is the best market that I really got to work on it. Then when I move into my 30s, it's not going to be a fresh grad market anymore. It's going to be mid-careers, maybe bankers, assistant advisors, different kinds of demographics will then come in. Then I need to position myself well to then capture this market.
Great. So since you talk about fresh graduate and this is like the market that you are like focused on, how do you think that these people, right, can actually, thrive in this career while juggling with like studies and stuff like that? I believe most of them are like in university, right?
Yeah.
And they have to juggle like multiple things. Then it's not easy as well. So how would you all do it? And of course, you yourself, you came through as a student advisor.
Yeah.
You even start building your team as a student advisor. That's mad, like how you managed to do that with limited time. But how would you like advise, other aspiring student leaders to do the same?
For fresh grad, straightforward. Follow the 8-8-8.
Still 8.
Okay, for fresh grad. Okay, because you are really focusing on this full time. You have no excuse. Okay, for students, a bit different. You can't apply the 8-8. Because you realize, 8 hours of personal time and 8 hours of work, you have school. Okay, so recommendation most of the time is I will block up my school days. Let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, school. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, work. Sunday, rest. So then time management will be slightly different for student advisors. But largely speaking, most of it will still go back to time management and how they manage their emotions along the way. Okay? But if you ask me, I wouldn't really say student, I'll say this, fresh grad, I'll say this. I'll say if there's one thing that I really were to come back to will be self-management. Self-management, which means how do you manage yourself on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Because I can teach someone all I know about time management, but if that person doesn't follow through, if that person cannot even have the discipline to execute, cannot wake up on time, procrastinate like crazy, don't want to upskill, then there's so much I can do.
Right.
So it still goes back to self-management.
I think we talk a lot about, the mindset, the tactics and stuff like that, frameworks. And I think all this can be very effective, but end of the day, if you don't manage yourself, you manage yourself is just like the health and stuff like that also, like how you manage your time and schedule, but next is like the health side, right? What if someone that is like constantly working like crazy, they feel burnout, then of course, how are they gonna still follow that 8-8-8 rule or, whatever, right? So why I'm asking this also because I know that you are like a mad, I don't know, biohacker. Do I call you a biohacker or like just some like health guy?
Biohacker.
Right?
Okay.
Like you're eating like just what? Plain chicken breast and no, I'm just kidding. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But like, I know you're someone that values health a lot and you take care a lot a lot about your health. What are some of the things that you do to make sure that you stay productive, at the top of your game every single day?
Your body is like a car.
Right.
Okay, your body is like a car. And you drive. So what if you pump very, very cheap and poor quality fuel to a car?
It just doesn't feel nice.
Yeah, it doesn't feel nice.
Yeah.
And the question is then, why are you doing it to your body? So people who eat a lot of junk food, a lot of, I don't know, like sweet stuff, they are literally fueling their body with poor quality petrol. Literally. So I see from that perspective. So to me, it's not even that I need to take extra care of my health. But the question is, if you got one car, and this one car for the rest of your life, how will you take care of that? And that is our body.
You are what you eat.
Yeah, exactly. So it goes back to that. There are many things that I do in terms of health, but the most basic thing, there are a lot of basic things that you can
Sleeping 8 hours a day, right?
Sleeping.
And what else?
Yeah,
Drink a lot
I've
of water.
never compromised on sleep. So I get a lot of questions with regards to like how I manage my time as a student advisor when I first joined in NTU year 1. And I tell them sleep was a non-negotiable.
Serious.
So they say 3S in school. You get sleep, studies, social. Three of which you choose 2.
So what do you choose? Sleep and what?
Sleep and
social.
Most of it sleep and actually I think I got more all 3 actually.
Yeah, how?
So but most of the time they say you can choose 2 lah. But I would say studies and social wise, if you compare to sleep was still my priority. And I sleep a lot every day.
Back then when we were like younger days, like you were hustling like crazy. Like you're waking up at 5 a.m. and stuff like that. Like you all were sleeping very little, no man?
No, you're sleeping at maybe 11.
Oh.
11 to 5 gives you what? 6 hours. And it's not 5 every day lah. So on weekends you sleep in. Anyways, that's not a good strategy.
That was what we did.
Yeah, that was what we did. So we will really chiong on the weekdays. Like let's say 10 to 5, 11 to 5. But weekends we'll sleep in.
Right.
Then I realized over the years that actually that wasn't a good strategy. You should have consistent sleep schedule. That's better.
So what's the consistent sleep schedule for you? Maybe just like that, something that works for you lah.
Yeah. So there is no right answer. So some people will think that, okay, then should I sleep at this timing and wake up this timing? Research have shown that there's one good time to sleep, but it's quite hard to hit. You know what time is that? There's a 4-hour time block every single day for us based on a circadian rhythm that is perfect for sleep, that you get high quality sleep.
Damn.
May I guess what time is that?
I don't know. I got feeling it's very hard to hit. Means it's like 9 p.m, 10 p.m, around there.
Yeah. So it's about 10 to 2 every single day. So that is the golden hours of your sleep and your circadian rhythm.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, 10 to 2 every day. So I aim to sleep every day plus minus at 11. So for those who know me, you know that once you text me after 9, I don't reply, because to me that is my time that I gotta protect.
Right, you gotta make sure you're in the in a state to fall asleep.
Yes, you cannot be thinking about too many things before you sleep.
Right.
Yeah, because that will cause a poor quality sleep.
Actually, very funny because as we are talking about health and all this optimization stuff, as you do all this, right, I see some of the guys in your team, they're also like doing the same thing. Like for example, if you are like cutting sugar, cutting carbs, eating clean, and there's some people in the team that are also like doing that. Like, so it's very interesting because you're not just like a team that kind of like enforces like sales or hustle or like tactics or stuff like that. But it's also like health, and then even your guys are like fueling themselves with the right fuel. And it's like, I don't know, that's very interesting to me. Like not many agency leaders are doing that, right? Getting your guys to make sure they sleep and of course to eat clean. Like, do you tell them to do that, or is it like they are just inspired by you?
I would say it goes back to what is leadership more.
Right.
And I think likewise for sales, leadership is also about influence. And influence does not come in one aspect. It's like you can't say, oh, follow me in this area of my life, but the rest of life you just close one eye because I'm not so good at that. It's like how you do anything is how you do everything. So if I'm like that in my personal life, then probably there's a very good chance that in my professional life, I'm also as committed. So I don't really tell them what to do and what not to do, but rather there are some small little things that I do. Over the years, every time I travel, last time I will buy a lot of let's say I go Paris, and buy a lot of chocolate, buy whatever, give my friends, give my advisors. Nowadays I hardly buy anything.
Same.
Because
when I travel, I don't buy any snacks
I realized
anymore.
that there's nothing good to buy back.
Yeah, it's nothing
Really, quality stuff. So more recently, what I've really brought back was honey. I went South Africa, so I bought honey from there. They really produce the honey there. I got olive oil. I bought rice.
What the heck?
So I realized the things that I even buy back for the people around me change over the years.
You buy healthier stuff.
Yeah, and as a result, people will notice that anything that Caleb brings, can be anything. Even when I bring people out to eat, I don't go to fast food restaurants or whatever. We go to places that, quote unquote, they're healthy.
That's
right.
very
and it's not hard to find healthy restaurants.
Right. And then apart from what you of course the meals that you eat, your supplement intake also very interesting. Would you like to share that with the audience?
Sure. Supplement every day is named there for a reason. It's a supplement to your diet. It shouldn't be a replacement.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I think I take quite a number every single day. So greens is one. So greens is actually powder. They are blended. They blend all the different veggie and everything into powder form, and it's almost impossible for you to eat that daily. All the different ingredients daily is close to impossible.
Too much veggies.
Too much. And it's too much of a hassle. Okay, but you can get everything with one scoop. Okay, so I get that. I also eat things like vitamin D because I'm indoor most of the time.
Oh yeah, we need the sun.
Even gymming, you're indoor.
Yeah.
Crazy nowadays, right? So you don't have that vitamin. So I take that also. Together with vitamin D, I take some magnesium and calcium. It's a blended supplement, which probably also change over time.
Right.
Omega-3,
fish oil.
I also take creatine.
Oh, creatine, yes.
And more recently, I've been taking collagen peptides.
For your skin?
Skin, mainly for my joints.
Oh, joints, okay.
Yeah, mainly for my joints. Because I'm training for Hyrox now. and there's a lot of things that I'm doing that I need to really make sure that, first rule to me is injury free.
Right.
Yeah, and I need to make sure that every part of my body is primed for that challenge.
That's mad to be able to like think so far ahead to get like a specific supplement for your joints for this. I didn't know you signed up for Hyrox. That's interesting. Which
this November. So this what 2 months left. Less than 2 months.
So now you have work, you have training and everything. So what is your 888 now?
What's my 888? Generally I sleep about 8 to 9 hours a day.
Wow, 9 hours.
Then work-wise, depending on what time I start. So different days I start different timings. Some days I start at 9 a.m. because there are meetings. Then it will be somewhat like a 9 to 8 kind of day. 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. On later days, let's say I start at my coaching at 10 or 11, then I'll end the day probably around 8 or 9 also, depending on whether I have evening Zoom appointments as well. Yeah, so roughly every day the schedule is like that. Right. Then I have maybe 1.5 days off a week for my family and for my loved ones.
Right, I think off days are very, very important, not just like hustling your way through. I mean, for those that are watching, you all might be thinking like, oh, I gotta work every day. But I think for you, I feel like you're someone that also value your off days a lot. Like you kind of like really block it out, like your sacred time. Yeah. Right, make sure there's no work. But sometimes it happens. So how do you deal with that? Like, you know,
what happens?
I don't know, like when you are doing your off days, you're out with your loved ones, and then there's just like work issues leaking through. Does that happen to you or
99% of the time is not important. It's not that urgent.
Right.
And I also make it a point that even I train the people around me that you shouldn't be too, I cannot find a word for it, but too reactive. For example, let's say a client texts me or an advisor texts me that they need help right now. Like right now. First I'll ask myself can this be prevented? Because let's say they tell me, Caleb, I really need your help because I got appointment in 1 hour. Then my question in my head is, why can't you share with me the case study the day before or 3 days before? Why must it be 1 hour before the appointment? So if it's the first time, I will help, but I will coach them. If that happens again, I'll not reply.
Nice.
Because you need to draw boundaries. I know of stories out there that associates are calling their leaders at 1 a.m. discussing about I don't know what. What's so important to discuss at 1 a.m. that you can't get it done during the day? So that's the challenge that I ask myself then, why must it be that? So to me, 99% of the time that people come to me, they expect me to react, I don't react. So after a while, they are trained.
They know that you won't reply.
They are trained. They are trained. To a certain timing, they text me, they will know that I will not reply. Because I need to know and I need to draw my boundary. I mean, for the leaders out there that they are listening to this, you know what I mean. And if you don't draw that boundary, then you'll just be overstepped by everyone. Even your clients, I mean, you're not 24/7, right?
Yeah.
You're not 24/7. Your client calls you at freaking 12 a.m. to complain to you about this.
Nothing much you can do.
Yeah, there's nothing much you can do at that point in time. So unless it's really an emergency like someone got hospitalized or someone got into whatever accident. Okay, yes. So that is, but like I said, 99% of the time it doesn't happen.
Right. So I think over time, as you scale your business, you get like more clients, more team members, more things to do, right? And of course, you can't handle them alone. And that's where you need to start to build like an internal team for yourself, right? I think most of the time, self-employed people or like advisors, they see themselves as just like one man and then they expect themselves to do everything by themselves, right? And of course, over time, they are limited on time, resources, and they can't get the best work. So I know for you, you have a very, very good PA, right? You have a very, very good like internal team helping you out with all the administrative stuff and stuff like that. So, how would you like advise this aspiring leaders to structure their internal team to make sure that they are able to coach effectively, at the same time serve their clients effectively, do everything effectively, but you can't do it yourself, and at scale you need a team. How would you build that?
An analogy is Michelin star chefs. Do you think they come out to collect the check?
No.
To collect the cash to do the credit card?
Definitely not.
So as advisors, the problem is you don't have a JD, a job description, like you should do this. So end up everything becomes our JD. Like we have to do sales, you have to do like every single thing, like client servicing, client claims, everything becomes to-do list. But the question is, are every single activities productive? And does it really help you to bring your career to the next level? Okay, if you were to sit down, one exercise that I always like to do is sit down, write down all the things that you are managing on a day-to-day, weekly basis, responsibilities that you've been given, write everything down. then ask yourself, what are the things on this list that you can do?
And cannot do, and don't want to do.
That you can do, that no one else can do a better job than you.
Right. So you keep those.
Keep those. Because those are the one that gives you your fun one. Okay, it's like a chef. You should cook. You shouldn't be out there thinking, wow, then how do I manage the guests coming in? It's not your job. Okay, and really you filter down in this career 3 things. Sales, recruitment, management. These 3. Okay, really means meeting clients, prospecting, recruitment, really having recruitment appointments, bring them through the process, management, really spending time with people to bring the best out of them. That essentially is your job. Anything outside of that, anything else, it should be delegated. Okay, then the question is how?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are a lot of things that should be delegated, and one of the concerns people have on delegation is, wow, if I delegate, then the person cannot do a better job than me. Okay, that is usually one of the concerns.
Right.
Okay, just look at MNCs. Look at MNCs. One CEO, they have so many department heads. They have so many people in the department. Okay, do you think the CEO will say that their departments cannot do a better job than him?
No.
So it's more of how you delegate and who you delegate to and how you train your staff. And if you can do that successfully, then you realize that actually delegation, not just, let's say I cannot design, and I find someone who can design. Not just this person can buy me time, he or she can design 5 times better than I can. Then it's a win-win. But people are thinking, wow, if I outsource design, then this person design not so nice, then I need to redesign again.
End of the day is always finding someone that's better than you.
Yes. So you can find that in different areas, like I segregate in the department, HR, recruitment department, your marketing, your branding department, sales department, in terms of training, also another department. So ask yourself, in the different departments, what is your job? So for example, let's say I work with you, Trident. My job is to think about, okay, probably what are some key things that I want to hit in terms of objectives. Okay, then I leave the brain work to you.
Right.
So you tell me the brain work in terms of, oh, you do this. Then I will save, let's say, 5 hours or even more. Then I tell you, okay, maybe this one, like that. Okay, then we can execute it. Then everything is done by external agency. So then I save probably 30 hours, 50 hours in the middle. Then I try to say that, okay, maybe I put one iPhone, I try to, film myself and try to think of a branding direction myself. Then most of the time, if you do that for every single department, you're spending 80% of the time doing defensive work.
Yeah.
Then the offensive work is just not done. Or people don't have time or mind space for it.
I think that's very, very profound, and definitely people should start looking into how they can use their time effectively, right? Build the defensive side of things and also focus on the offensive side. I think for today, we really cover a lot on the tactics, the systems, the frameworks, and it's a very different conversation from the first one.
The origin story.
Yeah. But is there anything else you want to add to the people watching this before we wrap up? Right? Maybe one final note to share to people watching this. They can be like aspiring leaders, aspiring agents, fresh graduates who are like looking to join this career.
Okay, there's one last advice will be, don't be too zoomed in as a financial advisor. Which means to say, don't keep telling yourself that you're just a FA. Look at yourself from an entrepreneurship standpoint. When you can work with different people in your life and create this thing called the board of directors. It's a concept that I use, even for my ChatGPT, board of directors. In every aspect of your life or in your work, if you can look for someone that is the best at every area of that industry, and you can get advice consistently from every single one of them, then don't you think you will stand a much better chance to do well? So in terms of sales, not just internally, find external help also.
Right.
Branding, marketing, find someone to help you with that, to scale your brand. Training, everything. Apply, copy and paste, really go out there, network, expand your network, and see this as really a venture for yourself.
Very, very good. All right. Once again, thank you so much, Caleb, for appearing for part 2.
No problem, pleasure.
Yeah, for those who enjoy this episode, just stay tuned for more. We'll be inviting more other guests and leaders like Caleb to share more about their entrepreneurship journey. So yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. See you guys. Bye bye.